The Good News with Shamar Anderson and Chandler Rice.
Good morning, and welcome to the Good News for Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. I'm Shamar Anderson.
And I'm Chandler Rice. Good morning. We are coming to you from Studio A at Historic St. Paul AME Church in downtown Raleigh.
We are here today to bring you some good news about the season of Lent. This is week 6 of our 8 weeks journey of the Lent. We are presenting interesting information to help you during your journey during the season before Easter that takes us on the journey with Jesus during his last days on earth.
We will continue to present more names for God and what they mean, along with some ideas for youth to also celebrate the season along with adults.
We will also continue our series on the stations of Jesus' journey to the cross, and our clergy will share an inspirational word to give you encouragement for the remaining days of Lent. Let's get started. Chandler, what is the name you are presenting for this week?
The name for this week is Migdal Oz, which means strong tower. That name is found in Psalm 61, verse 3, and it reads, "Hear my cry, O God, listen to my prayer. From the ends of the earth I call to you. I call as my heart grows faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I, for you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the foe." Let me give you that reference again, so you can read more about it later. Psalm 61, verse 3.
Thank you, Chandler. Now it's time for our Did You Know segment for today, to explore another idea for youth to participate in the Lenten season. Kennedy Merritt is in Studio B, and she has a special report on jelly beans and how they can remind us of God's love. Hello, Kennedy.
I am so happy to get this report today. You are right. My report today is about jelly beans. We have talked about ways we can draw close to God during Lent. Today, I'll tell you about how jelly beans can teach us about Jesus and what he purchased for us through his death, resurrection, and ascension. Let me share this poem with you. Red is for the blood he gave. Green is for the grass he made. Yellow is for the sun so bright. Orange is for the edge of night. Black is for the sins we made. White is for the grace he gave. Purple is for his hours of sorrow. Pink is for our name tomorrow. An egg full of jelly beans, powerful and sweet, is a prayer, a promise, a loved one's treat. Now we have a different way to think about jelly beans. I am Kennedy Merritt, reporting for the Good News. Back to you, Chandler.
Thank you again, Kennedy. I really will look at jelly beans in a different way. Thank you again, Kennedy, for that report. It's time now for a quick word from our sponsor.
Welcome back. Now it's time to continue our series on the stations of the cross. Here to present the next 2 stations is Charles Wright in Studio B. Welcome, Charles.
Hello, Shamar and Chandler. Today we're going to look at stations 9 and 10 for our viewers. The 9th station depicts Jesus falls a 3rd time. A reference to Jesus' condition may be found in chapter 37 of Psalm, verses 23 through 34. The last fall is devastating. Jesus can barely proceed to the end. Jesus collapses for a 3rd time under the weight of the cross, summoning all of his remaining strength. Supported by his inner trust in God, Jesus presses on. Can you see our Lord bruised and weary on the ground? Jesus' brokenness makes us whole. Think about it. Because Jesus obeyed, his surrender gives us life. You may be facing a difficult or painful situation. Someone you care about may be hurting. Jesus gets it. That's good news. Hebrews chapter 4, verses 14 through 16 reminds us how completely he loves us. At the 10th station, Jesus' clothes are taken away. The Gospel of John in 19, verses 23 to 24, gives the account and connects how Jesus fulfilled the Old Testament prophecy of Psalms chapter 22, verses 16 through 18. Part of the indignity of the sentence to die by crucifixion was that the person was stripped of their clothes and hung on the cross naked. Jesus is completely stripped of any pride. The wounds on his back are torn open once again. He experienced the ultimate vulnerability of the defenselessness as he lay there bare for us. This is Charles Wright reporting the good news. Back to you, Shamar.
Thank you, Charles. Be sure to join us again next Wednesday and learn about the next 2 stations. Well, that's our good news report for today. It's time for a word from our clergy team with more good news to share from the scriptures.
Here with us today is Reverend Wilmot Taylor, who will give you words of encouragement. Reverend Taylor, thank you for being with us today.
Hello, Shamar and Chandler. So glad to be with you today to talk about Lent. Our message today draws from Psalm 61, the same passage where we read our name for God. This passage is a song of protection, and I think you'll agree that we have prayed a lot of prayers for protection over the past year. It has been a year that we have been safer at home, observing the 3 W's to protect ourselves and others from the novel coronavirus COVID-19. We have experienced uncertainty. We've juggled working from home with hybrid, remote, and face-to-face learning as we followed steps to keep our loved ones safe. Yet for all that we have done, it was really and is God, our strong tower, who has kept us, who has made a way for us, who has protected us. In the midst of all our concerns about the virus, the protests against injustices, the election responses and reactions, and so much more, we did like the psalmist. We cried out to the Lord. We went to our source, the rock that is higher than we are, and God heard our cry. Now it's true that we still have challenges, but look at how God has been our refuge. We've come together as a church family in prayer. We have continued to serve one another in our community. We have seen the wonderful work of God in us and with us. To God be the glory. And our good news broadcasts for Lent have provided us with additional opportunities to do what the psalmist described in verse 4 of Psalm 61, to grow closer to God so that we can abide in the shelter of God's wings. All of this is possible because Jesus paid the price. As we learned at Station 10, Jesus was stripped and became vulnerable so that we could be clothed in righteousness and come boldly to the throne of grace and dwell in the Lord's temple today and forever.
That is a good news word for today. Thank you, Reverend Taylor. Chandler and I want to thank you, our viewers, for joining us today for some really good news. We hope you learned something new today that will help you with your journey of Lent. We invite you to go to St. Paul's website for more information on Lent and ideas to include your observance.
Please join us again next Wednesday at 10 a.m. for another broadcast of The Good News about the season of Lent.
We look forward to seeing you here again next Wednesday. Remember to wear your mask, wash your hands, and stay 6 feet apart. Goodbye and have a blessed week.